games to round out the group. We'll hark your mind back to 2017 when Longzhu, with Khan as their top laner, went 6-0. It's the last time we had three teams tied at 2-4. We had a tiebreaker, and it was Fnatic who came out on top then. Here we'll see if FPX can take down Rogue in game 1, or if Rogue will be facing up against C9 later. Draven, Lucian, and Leona banned away by FPX. Hard bot lane focus. Irelia and Yuumi taken away.
They have said,
Rogue.
No, Hansama, no, you are not allowed to carry. And they have removed as many tools as possible to prevent him from doing just that. The respect also going to be shown towards Tian. So what will the first pick be? The Twisted Fate for Doinby. Now, Larssen is known for playing the Sylas, but typically he prefers things like the Orianna as an answer to it. Usually Rogue shift more towards the team fighting rather than trying to match on the side lanes. But I think that with the Misfortune still open, it's something that Hansama can look for if they want to try and get him on an AD carry to potentially carry with. But with things like the Jhin, you imagine that LWX would be more than happy to answer it. But it does seem that Larssen is saying, well, I'm down to play the Sylas side of this matchup.
Last time we saw Doinby on the Twisted Fate. He had a lot of damage in the later game fights, and as you say, no. Like, there's picking. It's not that Inspired cannot play Fiddlesticks. We've seen him play it well.
There's no way
but picking Fiddlesticks at this point blind with no enemy jungle already locked in.
But he's using the fear early. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, as a Nocturne main, you know a lot about fear. He's like obsessed with it. It's just paranoid. But yes, MF will in the end be the lock here for Hansama. So a very strong AD carry, great duelist, has a lot of damage in later game fights if you can connect with your bullet time, because we've seen a few of those going wide. Jace locked in here for Nuguri on the top lane.
So it is full comfort for FPX. Like, look at this, a full topside focused draft. It is what we've been seeing, well, dominate a lot so far today. And I think that it is a very effective one. It's a clean one because they're challenging Odoamne here. They're saying, what have you got? What have you got in the top side of the map to really allow you to try and stop this? Because they haven't locked in the jungle yet. They haven't locked in top lane yet. And if they do lock in this Rakan, which they will, they can now ban out supports as an answer. They can mitigate what Crisp has an access to. They may choose to get rid of something like the Rel, something he has gone for, give you that engage. I just feel like LWX is looking at either a Kai'Sa or a Jhin. And I feel like Jhin is what he's primarily going to go for to try and synergize more with that poke style comp that FPX have gotten themselves with the Jace and with the Twisted Fate and the Rapid Fire Cannon later.
Well, Rogue agree with the AD carry focus at least for these bans. They'll take away Aphelios. FPX can look up towards that top side if they so desire. Can look to the jungle as well. Could say, hey, Inspired. I'm not going to give you something like the Xin Zhao. I'm not going to give you, I mean, Talon or Graves as well. There is the Graves ban by FPX. Rogue have a wealth of options at their fingertips in terms of what to ban. But it's a single ban that could sometimes be the difference in games like this, making sure that you really set your lanes up for success. I like the Ezreal ban personally, just removes LWX's ability to be safe.
This to me suggests more of the Jhin. And the Fiddle is going to be banned away. They are not letting him have it again. The respect has come through. Now, part of me thinks that Rogue will consider a Camille here. It's not the best matchup into Jace, but you do know that it will eventually outscale. Oh, wait. Actually, this fits way more with the Rogue style. Weak side up towards the top side of the map. A potential winning matchup, but instead they're going to go for the Kennen. It was Odo that was playing this side of the matchup. They're now flipping it around, and remember that it was Odo in lane. It was going pretty even, but later on, Odo was able to get the better of Noguri in the straight-up 1v1. He was massively impactful on the Jace with the amount of poke that he offers, but now it's very clear that Rogue is going all in on the team fight. To me, they're looking at a Jarvan final rotation right now. Gives you some early game setup, also gives you a very reliable engage, but perhaps they want to put Inspired on something that can have a little bit more of a carry performance. With the Kiana still up and available, that is always something that they can go for and would combine well with their composition as FPX round out their draft with a very solid and reliable bot lane. Crisp gets himself Thresh, LWX gets himself Jhin. Makes sense with the context of their comp and also provides that extra bit of safety thanks to the land.
Yeah, of course, Thresh good into the Rakan as well. Definitely helps you out in the laning phase. And now Rogue, a long discussion as to this jungler, and is going to be the Jarvan. Good prediction there, Vedius. few low mobility lanes for Inspired to play around, but so far at this tournament, I think a lot of people would agree, Jarvan has been underwhelming at best most of the times he's been played.
Well, pick 22% of the time, win percentage 40%. And Inspired he was massive in their last game against FPX. Thanks to the amount of damage and the flanks that he was able to find on that Fiddlesticks, you're not going to have that same type of carry performance on a Jarvan. It's going to be much harder. It's going to rely on the solo laners and the engage, but I will say Rogue have a lot of engage. They have a lot of tools to start fights, and FPX, obviously their early game plan is to play very much towards the top side of the map. They can look to try and attack side lanes with the global that they have on Twisted Fate and try and play through Noggery. The question is, what will this early game look like? Because I think this whole game could be decided by how the early game plays out. We've seen both sides struggle when it comes to getting through the early game, and I think it's going to determine a lot what will happen. A lot of comfort on both sides, in particular for FPX. I think that anyone that's followed FPX will look at this draft and say, this definitely looks like an FPX draft to me. So let's see how they make things happen. Will they be able to turn it around? The tiebreakers are going to start. The winner will go up against C9. The winner will still stand a chance of making it to the World's quarter-final stage, and the loser will end up going home. Their world run will end.
FPX, previous world champions against Rogue, a number 3 seed from the LEC. Both regions with a lot of pride on the line. I think, speaking as someone from Europe, it's been a disappointing world so far, but if Rogue are able to make this run, it'll be all the brighter. LPL, FPX especially on the other side of the coin, will want this win. Like, to get knocked out by NA, to get knocked out by EU is just not something you want to see, and I'm sure the Bilibili forums will be full of a lot of copy pasta after this one if they end up losing.
That's definitely true. Odoamne starting with the E there. As Jace already skilling in the queue. Trimby going to sweep out the bot side, and a lot on the line of this game. No more second chances, no more opportunities. This is it.
We haven't said it today. Do you want to say the words?
Tell me.
Would you say it's make or break?
It is. It is make or break for both of these teams.
Good one, man.
Burst out into song. Burn it all down. Okay.
I mean, the singing lessons have been going well. So.
Right, so Viego starting on the bot side of the map, but it doesn't look like that Tian is going to get a leash, whereas Trimby, is this some very clever ploy? Surely Crisp is going to check this. You can see his hesitancy to check the brush. Oh, okay.
I mean, they might not when MF walks into the lane.
But they don't know Trimby's in there.
Yeah, so my thought is they see Hans Sommer walk into that second bush. Trimby has been hiding in his first bush and now can look for the fight. No. Single auto attack was less exciting than perhaps we've built it up to be, but I do like that little bit from Rogue. Tiny bit of extra harass as Tian started down towards the bottom side. Neither jungler getting a leash.
So, yeah, both junglers starting on the bot side and that pathing up towards top. Typically, Kennen will get priority against the Jace early on. So it kind of makes sense to me that Inspired is pathing up towards the top side, whereas Tian just doing a full clear. He might look for a potential gank, or maybe he'll leverage the fact that they will have mid-prior to try and contest this top side scuttle, something to keep an eye on. But as I say that, we can also see Noggery getting the first push. Knock up from Trimby.
Early play there from Crisp. Trimby knowing that he could go in with the grand entrance. LWX trying to trade back into this. Both AD carries low. LWX below half HP. Down to about 150 as the Ignite does tick.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, like, oh, the level 2.
Crisp will have play back up here, so can use
nice.
It. But Trimby dodges away from it. LWX now has 2 back.
A lot going on in these trades very early on between the two. I was surprised that Hans Sommer didn't just turn around and hit LWX, because while he was reloading, there was a window there where I thought that Hans Sommer and Trimby really could have done some serious damage. But let's see if they expect this. All summoners are up and available. If Inspired goes to this gank, he's likely going to lose his top side.
You give up so much.
Yeah, you do give up a lot. And look at this ward as well, dropped by Doinby in the bottom river. Not going to spot out the Jarvan, as a good trade comes out from Noggery in the top side.
Yeah, Noggery really putting the hurt down onto Odoamne, who's down to half HP. Inspired now working his way up towards the top side of the map. A full camp and a half behind because of the little bit of time that he spent down in that bottom lane. And for the moment, no real advantages gained. Tian will be able to get this first scuttler of the game, and I wonder if Inspired will just give up both scuttles, allowing the FPX junglers to get ahead.
Well, so the thing is they don't know where Inspired is, so they don't know if he's topside, and it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume that he passed towards bot, simply because that's where he has his prior. So they can make that safe assumption right now, but Jarvan is here, Odo forced to flash.
He's going to go back in, looking for the stuns here underneath the tower. Tian Able to get away from this one. Odoamne still alive, and here comes Inspired. Nuguri dodges to the side, but still gets knocked up. Nuguri low, 100 HP on him. Inspired will flash. Martial Cadence for the kill. Tian now trying to trade underneath this tower, but Odo and Inspired. Oh, there's the TP coming in from Doinby. They're looking to keep this play going. Spectral Maw gets the stun. Tian possesses Odoamne and helps Doinby get the second kill.
Beautiful TP from Doinby to make that work out nicely for FPX. And Larssen didn't have mana to join the fight, which means that even if he did invest his TP, he likely wouldn't have been able to offer anything anyway. So really well played from Tian as we see another trade in bot lane.
Yeah, Trimby there smartly waiting out the flay so he could dance back with the E. What you want to do on the Rakan in this sort of trading, and bot lane definitely going in Rogue's favor so far in these short burst windows, but a big lead now developed for Tian in the jungle, 1-0-1, and alongside that Doinby getting a kill.
And it's a strategy that many teams in this group have tried to utilize, shutting down Odoamne in the early game. It wasn't even a stacked wave, but they know that Odoamne is very squishy. And Odoamne, I think in this situation, just wants to try and leverage the tower, but he takes so much damage actually getting back underneath the tower, as we see it fighting bot.
Oh, Tian was lanterned in there. They're going to get the root onto Trimby. The Ignite is sticking. Inspired is here as well. Tian's going to keep trading in. Blade of the Ruin King doing a little bit of damage, but Inspired doesn't actually have to go for this, just able to force the FPX bot lane away.
So the problem with Inspired trying to force a play there would have been that all of the summoner spells are still up for FPX, except for the Ignite, of course. But also, because Trimby can't re-engage due to his HP, that would have been a 2 versus 3. And because Inspired doesn't have Flash, the moment he commits to that, he is not getting back out again. So not risking the numbers disadvantage there, he decides not to overcommit. And fortunately for Rogue, they do not lose anything off the back of it anyway. So FPX with a very small gold lead for the time being, largely building up towards the top side of the map. But I think that Doinby is going to be pretty happy with the kill that he's currently sitting on. Nuguri
will be pretty happy with the fact that he's sitting on a serrated duck as well. That lethality already stacking up on the Jace. You can see Doinby and Larssen trading XP in the mid lane. Both the top lane is pretty even, both the junglers pretty even. Say a quarter of a level between the two of them. So pretty even across the board. Only 200 gold the difference between these two teams. And I did ask our stats team ready to have a quick historical look at the records of all these regions in tiebreakers internationally. LEC sitting at 10-3. They've actually only ever lost tiebreakers for first. They've never lost a tiebreaker to make it through to the quarterfinals. LPL with a pretty good record as well. And the LCS never won a tiebreaker in the World's group stage. They've actually only ever won one in play-ins.
Okay.
I think C9 have lost every tiebreaker that they've
Well,
played.
you're not filling them with a lot of faith, are you?
I mean, C9 definitely look like the best team today, so it would truly be some sort of disaster for NA if they're not able to take the win today.
You're just stacking those curses up, aren't you, Medic? Let's have a look at this. Inspired looking for a play on Noguri. No mana there, but Tian is level 6, and Inspired should be aware of that. Sidestep comes through from Han Summer. But I see Trimby roaming up towards top.
There's the Destiny as well, stolen away as Larssen looks for Noguri. Doinby coming in as well. Trimby trying to join the fray, but Tian has actually gotten down to half HP before this really begins. Slicing Maelstrom available for Odoamne if they try and turn this around, but you can see Trimby trying to battle dance away. Stunned up Tian. Spectral Maw was dodged there by Odoamne. Hansama surviving in the 2v1 in the bottom lane.
Okay, so the good news for Hansama is that he's not really losing a huge amount off the back of this. There's no real risk of a dive because of how many people are actually in the top lane. But Larssen did end up burning his flash. Tian as well, but because he's level 6 and because he has that ult, there was a real risk of him getting one reset and really snowballing that fight in their favor. So Rogue, they get paranoid, they don't overcommit, and look at Doinby. He's pushing in that mid wave now. He's going to catch a lot of farm, likely get himself a plate. Crisp again, just can't land those hooks on Hansama.
I mean, the thing with MF is she has so much passive movement speed just from her W that it's actually really difficult.
Of course.
Like, Crisp struggling a little bit, but no, not really his fault. I mean, Hansama's just a beast, to be honest. He's been practicing DDR before this, like, it's fancy feat, man.
Dodged everything. How do you even dodge that against the wall there? Absolutely crazy. We'll hit the level 6. Larssen, you're going to get force back. Yeah, Doinby going to pick up more fire. I'm surprised that Larsen's actually ahead in CS right now. The fact that he has been matching Doinby on some of these roams, I guess that very first roam where Doinby TP'd to top is where that difference came through. But I'm having a look at the mini-map once again. I see Tian eyeing up that top lane. Looks like for now his priority is just getting the Herald on spawn, and given that Larssen has to base, doesn't have TP, this should be uncontested, and you imagine that Rogue should look to try and trade a Drake for this.
FPX probably want to use this up towards that top side, get Noguri even more gold in his back pocket. Inspired is going to start up the Drake with the control ward to make sure that no one can spot him. Actually might look for a fight down towards the bottom side, in fact.
Oh, okay.
Good red buff back towards the Drake. Of course, we are around that second buff spawner time. You can see Inspired's red about to come off cooldown. You can see Tian's blue here as well. So Inspired using a small window here to steal away this red, but if you don't get the Drake off the back of it, it feels like you have lost a little bit of that neutral advantage.
Well, let's see what he does next. They're setting up for a dive on the bot lane. No TPs available. Destiny on cooldown as well.
Flash exhaust available here for LWX, though Hansama gets hooked. There's the exhaust. Hansama low underneath the tower. Bullet time just outside of turret range. Cataclysm coming out as well as LWX tries to flash away, but the Ignite is ticking. Hansama just needs a single auto instead. Trimby will take it with the auto himself.
Hansama flashed at the end there because he thought he would get the kill and he would get tower aggro, but he ends up using that and Trimby ends up picking up the kill. Now Tian looking to make the cross map happen in the top side.
Larsen's on his way up there as well. They're trying to make this a 2v3. There's the Destiny Slicing Maelstrom coming out. Odo Omne trying to survive. That you just can't survive that dive. It's a heartbreaker for Odo as he gets killed off in the top lane.
Huh? Wait, he stole Kennon's ult?
Yeah.
That's how that works?
Yeah.
So he becomes Kennon and he can steal his own teammate's ult. I didn't know that was the interaction.
It's a cool interaction.
I suppose it makes sense because you do...
You possess him, you become the champion, you have his items and everything.
But Tian doesn't get Kennon's ultimate.
No.
He has Viega's ultimate.
Really what's happened there is Tian has done all of Europe a favor. Okay, what other good old...
Wait, but now,
the quickness, the bullet time?
But hang on, but that's the icon on Larsen's...
Yeah, maybe it's just a visual thing.
Maybe it's just a visual thing. Maybe he does have... He has Viega's ultimate.
Okay, so here's why. He stole it while Viego was Kennen.
Okay.
So the icon is the icon that Viego would have, which is the Kennen ultimate because he's Kennen.
Okay.
But it's actually the heartbreaker.
But he always got...
Oh, no, but here's the question. Okay, I don't actually know this.
I don't know
Here's the question, tweet at us. If he uses it before Viego becomes Kennen again...
I don't know.
Before Viego becomes Viego again and is still Kennen, can he use the Slicing Maelstrom?
No.
I don't know either. For now, he's got the heartbreaker, and we'll keep our eyes on that.
All right. Whew. Well, that was stressful. Let's have a look back at this. Odo Omne, he knows that he's in danger. Larsen tries to roam up to try and assist, but Larsen can't get in range fast enough. And while Odo Omne survives for a little while, he isn't quite able to turn it into anything. Really good management of the tower aggro there from FPX. And they're all able to disengage very smoothly. So the gold remains even, the kills remain even, a lot of focus on the top side of the map for FPX, as we talked about in the draft. Meanwhile, a lot of focus on the bot side of the map for Rogue. And let's see what it turns into, because Twisted Fate Ultimate is on cooldown. Larsen's is the same, but he will be rotating up first, as we can see an engagement
going in, they're looking for LWX. There is the bullet time combo, and LWX unable to get to the Lantern. It's Odo Omne with the Slicing Maelstrom in the top lane. Nogari's low here. Tian gonna get caught out as well. He has to flash away. Nogari has to be the target here. Cataclysm coming out as well. Doinby locks in a gold card. Larsen's still on the chase. Tian has flashed away, and Rogue continue to look for these kills. Doinby once again has that gold card in, and Larsen will be able to land the chains on Tian.
I think that was water walking coming into effect there for Tian. Actually, maybe I'm wrong in that one, but nevertheless, Tian was able to disengage from that. Was Inspired? No? Oh, Inspired is looking. But they feel like this is a bait, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's no way that Doinby just pushes that up without support. TP into the top lane. Odo has TP. Odo has TP.
Trimby's on his way as well. Inspired going in. Doinby with a great... Oh, that was beautiful.
That really was so well done there from Doinby, and Crisp able to sidestep that one. But let's kind of take stock, because what Rogue successfully did there was get a kill in bot lane in the 2v2, which, bear in mind, they've played 3 times now, and it is LWX and Crisp that has 2v2 killed Hans and Trimby. They've killed Trimby.
Yeah.
And this time around, they're finally able to get some revenge as they get kills. Meanwhile, Larsen roams up top lane and is actually able to trade back a kill, which means that Rogue are now +2 and are slightly ahead in gold. Of course, this is all going to be gone the second that this tower ends up dropping, and FPX will be able to equalize
Destiny
it.
coming out. Odo Omne there, Spectral Morph for the stun. Odo able to dodge to the side just in time. If that Spectral Morph had connected, so would the Shot Blast, and that would have been a very dead cannon. Riftail's going to get another charge in here, but with Inspired, he should go down before they can actually take the tower. FPX investing a lot into trying to take this tower. Gold card locked once again. There's no minions there, and FPX will get that extra 600 gold.
I think it was worth it for FPX.
Yeah.
They really make life difficult now for Odo Omne. That wave is now so much longer. And of course, while Rogue are cross-mapping, the overall gold benefit will go into the back pocket of Rogue. This should continue to equalize the gold, though. I think the biggest thing that I'm really starting to see is, and thank you so much, Observers, for highlighting the gold, 2K is the gold lead for Hansama. He is a player that every caster and analyst has talked about for Rogue. And in a lot of games, teams have shut him down, and aggressively shut him down. Now he is poised and ready to carry. He's been given all of the gold. He is miles ahead of absolutely everyone. And when it comes to these team fights, he is going to be someone that you have to keep your eyes on. Hansama in a position to help Rogue get to the quarterfinals. Remember, he's been to the quarters before. Misfits 2017. He and Alfari on that roster were able to come out, and they won the tiebreaker against TSM, I believe.
I
believe. Tiebreaker versus
think
TSM?
it was TSM.
I think it was a tiebreaker versus TSM. I seem to remember them playing 3 games, and then they were able to come out on top. He may find himself in another tiebreaker against NA if he can come out on top of this game, but FPX still very close in gold. Noguri, the main benefactor of that with the Jace, working towards his second item with the Eclipse already finished. Tian also with the Divine Sunderer done. And Stopwatch now grabbed and ready to go for doing level 11s are going to be coming through soon. That means level 2 in a lot of ultimates. And violence will soon ensue, is what I imagine.
It's what we hope for as well. Watching this game, basically even right now. Inspire's going to take this Drake. A little bit delayed from the time the Rift Herald was being done on the other side of the map, but now actually Trimby and Hansama in the vicinity, in the area to spot out if this Rift Herald had been started again. First items across the board, Gale Force for both the AD carries, Everfrost for both the mid laners. And the first discrepancy we see is in that jungle. Gore Drinker to a Divine Sunderer for Tian.
Sorry, I was just thinking about, imagine if Silas did get Cannonol and they had 2 Cannonals. Yeah.
I mean, that would be pretty broken.
Yeah, that would be.
I had a look at the spectator client when it was in the replay, and it showed Heartbreaker the entire time.
Okay,
so it showed it showed Viego.
That makes more sense to me.
It does to me as well, but it's not an interaction you often think about, or you often see. As FPX look to push in this bottom lane, Tian and Nuguri have been by each other's sides the entire game long.
Yes,
and it's just what they've been doing. They've been looking for these towers. They've been looking to crack through the defenses of Rogue, and they continue to chip away at that bot lane tier 1. Rogue will get the Rift Herald after getting the Infernal as well, though, so that's 2 neutrals over to them, and Larson should just retreat from this situation.
Twisted Fate ultimate going to be used top lane. I was just going to say that Hansama, he's pushing towards this mid tower. The thing he has to be the most careful of is that Destiny from Doinby. But now that that's gone, this actually opens him up to be more aggressive in the mid lane if he wants to, but instead he's going to path up towards top. One of the crazy things about MF is, you already mentioned it earlier, her insane movement speed. Makes it much easier for her to rotate from lane to lane, and actually keeping her in mid is can be really valuable because of how quickly you can collapse on side. So something to keep note of as Hansama has been moved into this position. Have to note, FPX are currently up 3 towers to 1 because they secured that tier 2 in the top lane as well. They are still even on gold though, and it's because of the difference between the 2 AD carries. Hansama getting all the plates down bot lane, securing that tower as well, and more resources being funneled into him. He is level 11 right now. He is matching the solo laners because of how much Trimby has roamed, yet Trimby is still a level up over Crisp. He's 191 CS at 16 minutes and 45 seconds. Hansama wants to make it to quarters.
Dear me, he's having an absolute storm of a game so far, but in these later game team fights, it's all about his positioning. He's got 1 cleanse, he's got 1 flash, he's got 1 Gale Force, and there's a hook, there's a stun card, and there's a Spectral Maw coming for him.
So the thing that I will say about team fights is I think that in straight up 5v5, front to back, traditional team fight, Rogue has the stronger comp on paper. FPX, though, have a lot of poke, especially once the rapid fire come through from Doinby. And I imagine that when they're playing around these neutrals, if they even want to, they'll try and leverage this poke before a fight actually even starts. But I think ideally they want to try and attack the side lanes, as we've pretty much been seeing all day. You know, you push out waves, you have the TF or the J shadow, one or the other. You try and look for picks on side. You try and attack these routes so you don't give your opposition the straight up 5v5. But that's a matter of, will FPX respect that and not actually go for these 5v5s at the end of the day?
Rift Herald being put in the mid lane here by Rogue. They want to break this tier 1. You can see Odawamne working his way across as well. Of course, Tower's not quite as tanky as they are with all of those plates. Rift Herald will charge, but will fall before they can take down the tower itself. So Rogue still sit at that 1 tower. Tian looking for the Spectral Maw. Doinby has the Destiny if he wants to join this fight. Meanwhile, it's up in the top lane pushing out that wave. Larson doing the same on the opposite side of the map, and we're pretty symmetrical right here, Betty.
The only other thing I wanted to say about teamfights before moving on is it was Inspired who got a pentakill on Viego.
Yeah.
That helped him even get to Worlds in the first place.
I mean, it was the reason that they beat Misfits in that best of 5. They were 2-2, they were on the losing end, and then Inspired gets the penta. Larson looking for the Heartbreaker, stolen away from Tian. Rest of Rogue on their way as well, but nothing really doing there. Rapid fire cannon now complete for Doinby.
And the main point that I wanted to make there was that Viego is always that X factor when it comes to team fights. One reset could literally be enough to swing an entire fight in the favor of FPX. So even though I think on paper Rogue's comp is stronger in the 5v5, there are these other variables to take into consideration. For now, the gold continues to remain even. Once Odo Omni takes down this tower, we should see the gold pretty much flatline. And once again, FPX is trying to play towards their strong side of the map. They're working towards the tier 2. Now they're looking for a pick on a Larson.
TP coming in. There's a gold card looking for Larson as Trimby dives onto the backline with the quickness. Noguri has to flash away. Ignite ticking, slicing Maelstrom coming out the Rocky Bow, not able to get him in range. But Doinby has to pop the stopwatch, and there's the first reset. Hansama has the bullet time. Hansama has the flash. Gale Force for the execute. A double for Hans. LWX opens the curtains, but Hansama's looking to shut them down with a bullet time. Tian has to flash away. The chase is on. Inspired now joins the fray, and that is 4 kills for 1 in favor of Rogue.
And just like that, Hansama, the assassin AD carry, comes out of nowhere right behind FPX and shuts them down. 3-0-4 is now the scoreline for him. Oh, hang on.
LWX can probably do this. Gale Force, that's enough.
But what does it cost?
LWX has flash, has exhaust, puts the exhaust down. Hansama looking for the damage from the side, but remember, he has no gap closer here. However, Larson is on his way. LWX will flash and get dunked in the river. Everfrost coming out here as they try and turn it back on to Jace. Noguri has to flash away. Shock blast. Not quite enough damage to kill off the Jace.
That is... Wow, okay, so Rogue is going to choose to disengage, not overcommit for that Drake. But let's have a look back at this play and this new Axe Effect replay. So FPX is just playing around the side lanes. We've talked about it pretty much all game. They're looking for a pick because they think Larson's overextended. He's able to disengage. Then Trimby commits because they know, look at the minimap. You can see that Hansama is making his way over and how quickly he's able to collapse. Then when the fight initially looks like it's going in favor of FPX, flashes over the wall, Gale Force into Auto immediately turns the fight in their favor. Hansama does not want to get knocked out of the World Championship just yet, and he is doing everything in his power to turn it around. Huge props to obviously the other members of Rogue to set that one up for Hans to knock it right down.
As part of that Rogue squad last year that went 1-5, a lot of people criticized them just as a roster for a disappointing showing here. They came into a group by many people seen as done before a game had even been played. Everyone was saying, Dom1, FPX make it through. Rogue and C9 have had other things to say. Of course, FPX still have the opportunity. Dom1, 6-0. They're definitely the best of the 4. But Rogue and C9 are trying to fight back for the West. And of course, if Rogue can win this, they will face C9 in the final match of the group.
I mean, that's one perspective too, right? Should Rogue win this matchup, an NA or EU team is guaranteed in a quarterfinals, you know?
No airport speedruns for us, lads. Let's go.
The West. You know, 07s in chat, you know what I mean?
Sorry, is one team in quarterfinals enough to us to say the West has risen up once?
No, it's not. I didn't say that. It's just the West is not that bad.
Gap is closing.
No, it's not. It's just, you know. Anyway, focusing back in on this game, it's obviously not completely over yet for FPX. They're only about 2.5k gold down. The problem they have is that they are looking down the barrel of a Hansama who is level 13, working towards his Infinity Edge. And Larson, who, to his credit, 302, is also very strong himself. Not quite 257 CS, 22 minutes strong, but definitely very strong. You just feel like FPX is playing on the back foot because this whole composition relies on trying to attack the side lanes. Yeah. And they haven't really been able to do that. You can see that Noguri, while he is still very strong, I don't think he's at Icon 1v9 this game levels of strong. And Rogue has
no summons. He tries to get out with the Gale Force, but you can't dodge across the wall. You're locked in there with Inspired and locked in there with Rogue. Rogue now, a man advantage could turn to the Baron.
Noguri doesn't have TP either. Remember, he used it in the mid lane. We saw that little scrap with Larson, and I think that FPX are either going to have to try and fight this 3 versus 5 or give it up completely.
Tian still in position to perhaps steal, has the smite, no flash on him. Trimby's going to go across. Blast cone there. Trimby in a good position with the quickness here to dive in. Rogue starts to disengage. Inspired. EQ combo available for him. They keep the Baron aggroed for the moment. Noguri now has worked his way up from the top side. There's the Everfrost onto Trimby. Pops the stopwatch. Baron down to 2,500. Trimby dodging away. Rogue looking to burn through the Baron. Tian gets in, but Rogue get it. Inspired secures it. Tian jumped in and out. Couldn't quite take the Baron away. And now he might look for a little bit of this fight. Could try and stop it back. Doesn't manage to do it.
Wow, that was risky though. Flipping that Baron versus Tian was a very dangerous thing to do for Rogue, but taking some inspiration from Dom1 earlier in the day, leveraging the Misfortune ultimate to burst it down to make it that much harder. Inspired was able to secure it, and now with the Baron buff, Rogue find themselves with a 4,000 gold lead in prime control to take the first tiebreaker. The winner of this game will go up against Cloud9. But now with the Baron buff, Rogue is looking to break into the base.
Could be problem this Shirelli is there in the middle lane, perhaps wondering if he could catch out Doinby. Inspired in a good position to the side once again. Cataclysm just off cooldown. Mid lane tier 2 is forfeit as Rogue push into it. Nuguri and Doinby trying to defend, but they can't do it. Meanwhile, Odoamne has a wave stacked down towards the bottom lane if Rogue want to rotate across there.
They'll likely keep 1 or 2 people in the mid lane, or actually, oh, interesting. Okay, so they'll just let Odoamne solo push it down towards the bot side of the map. Typically, you would just want to keep, as exactly you're seeing on your screen right now, Hansama and Trimby around mid to instantly clear out this wave so that when the next wave comes in, they can Baron power it up and FPX is forced to catch it without any sort of leverage, which gives Rogue the opportunity to reset. They get themselves 2 quick towers and they can spend some of the gold that they've just acquired. Infinity Edge now being finished. The Starak's also in the back pocket of Inspired, and it looks like Odoamne working towards his death cap as well.
2 more towers over to Rogue. FPX trying to find a way back into this game. As you said, their power is side lanes, but Rogue haven't really had to meet them in the side lane. A lot of the time it's been LWX getting caught out in these last couple of plays. And because the Cataclysm alongside the Flag and Drag combo from Inspired gives you such a long range engage, it's very difficult for LWX to survive.
But I mean, just look at the levels, right? Like, if FPX were to team fight right now, Doinby is 2 levels down. Yep. Yes, he does have 3 items, but those levels matter. And Larson is so much stronger and will offer so much more in the 5v5. Now, Jace is trying to split push in the bot lane, but he's going to be forced to recall as Rogue now knock on the doors of FPX's base.
And a minion there, Baroned up on Summer. Takes a chunk down to about 1,000. Odoamne pushing in the mid lane as well, and it looks like Rogue will want to reset before this dragon would be their 3rd of the game. A Mountain Soul on the horizon for them. They're going to back, they're going to get their wards, and then they're going to walk back on towards the map. You can see control wards, 3 of the inventories.
Sorry, I was looking at the inventories and I see Zhonya's stopwatch, Zhonya's stopwatch on the side of Rogue.
And you want to know why FPX are losing this game?
Yeah, because not enough stopwatches.
One Zhonya's, no stopwatches. As Trimby looks for the quickness engage here in the middle lane. Bullet time coming out. Noguri is able to survive. TP's coming out from Rogue as well at the moment. It's a 3v5. Hunt Summer low. Tian trying to kill him off. Trimby kills off LWX. Cataclysm coming out. But Doinby onto Hunt Summer on the back line has to be what you have to watch. But instead, Odoamne doesn't care about Doinby. He just slices through FPX. And now Rogue, 4 members strong, Baron buff expired, could look to push down these inhibitors.
A huge flank from Odoamne comes in and he is able to melt through the lineup of FPX. He's finally able to dish back some of the punishment that he experienced in the early game. And FPX falls short once more. 3 members dead. Rogue will finally be able to break into the base.
Doinby and Chris trying to defend here as Rogue push forward. Minions in the mid lane will help Larson with that backdoor. Without the backdoor bonus, obviously Tian now up in 4 seconds. No inhibitors fall here for FPX. The Dragon wasn't taken either, so Rogue don't have that soul on the way. However, Baron up in 2 minutes time, maybe Rogue will want to play around that.
But now Rogue is just going to steal away everything. Initially, this fight didn't actually look all that bad for FPX. Look at Hansa. Oh, wow, forces the flash out from Noguri. No reliable engage actually comes through from Trimmy. He's perma-CC'd. Hansama takes a lot of damage, but then here comes Odoamne with a huge ultimate to just provide so much CC, so much damage. Inspired with the lockdown on the ultimate, and then Doinby using his ultimate to get out of danger to prevent Hansama from securing himself another kill. So very well played team fight from Rogue. And again, you're seeing how difficult it is for FPX to just play the straight up front-to-back team fight, especially when that Kennen is able to get onto the back line.
Yeah, my eyes were all focused on Hansama. I'm like, he's the key carry for Rogue, and Odoamne has other plans. Slicing Maelstrom still does a lot of work, even if you are not as far ahead as this AD carry. Almost a flame horizon for Hansama over LWX. A couple more CS would get to that point. Mountain Drake now taken by Rogue. A 6,000 gold lead. It's going to be a very difficult walk here for FPX to get back on into this game.
And what a shocker for FPX, because so many people have already said it, but they were considered tournament favorites. I remember seeing, even my rating was FPX, Dom1, and EDG as top 3 with RNG being the big dark horse. You know, it was one of these 4 teams, in my opinion, that was going to win the World Championship. And when people saw this group, everyone believed that FPX and Damwon would be fighting for first.
Yep.
Similar to what we saw last year when it was Damwon and JDG, and they took games off of each other. But they have not performed to the level that they expected, and now they're making a play to try and get back in.
Larssen uses the stopwatch, flashes away from the Everfrost, can be stunned up with the gold card. Inspired's on the way. Odoamne has a flank position here as well, and the counter Destiny has been used. Trimby going in, looking for Doinby, quickness used, and there's Cataclysm onto Noguri on the backline. And meanwhile, Noguri just can't do anything, locked up in place. Rogue able to find 2 more kills. And that Baron looking very juicy 20 seconds away.
It certainly is, Medic. FPX, they tried to go for a pick on a side lane. Larssen is able to navigate his way out of that situation, and even if they wanted to fight, it was never going to be good. LWX nowhere near the fight. It was always going to be 5v4. Rogue extend their goal lead to 7,000. And with the Baron in their sights, it is unlikely that FPX will be able to contest.
It's truly a shocker for FPX, as you say. However, Tian does still have Flash, does still have Smite, does still have the Heartbreaker to get into the pit. Everfrost to try and keep him away here. Larssen trying to keep that jungler at bay. Odoamne locked up, slicing Maelstrom coming out. Crisp almost down. Odoamne posts the stopwatch. Larssen trading onto Tian as well. The Heartbreaker coming out, but the resets just aren't quite there. Tian will fall. Larssen and Rogue will get the Baron. 2 kills down. TP coming in. As Noguri and Doinby going to join this fight. They might actually look to take down this mid lane tier 2 before Rogue can react.
Remember that they do have a numbers advantage here with a wave right behind them. They could keep pushing this if they wanted to, but instead they're not going to take the gamble with Inspired. Larssen and Hansam are all still up and alive. Looks like that they're just going to back off. Rogue will secure themselves the Baron. Frozen Heart coming through from Inspired. I quite like that. With so many auto attackers on the side of FPX. Offering that little bit of attack speed reduction, always very nice.
Especially if you're jumping right on top of them.
Yep. The GA now also completed for Hansama, level 16. He's a higher level than Dune. 345 CS at 30 minutes. An incredibly impressive game from the AD carry from Rogue. Really an impressive tournament overall from him. And now he's level 17. No, he's just higher than everyone. He's higher than
everyone but
Larssen. That's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, he has been funneled this game.
That is true.
Definitely, you can see Odoamne sitting at 240 CS. About 60 behind Noguri. But right now, Lichbane finished for Doinby. FPX on their last legs. One last defense, one last hope for the LPL in this game. Inspired, looking for that position to get in. Oracle's pop to clear out this ward. Gold card locked for Doinby, but he's going to be able to find his mark yet. Hansama, no cleanse on him. Well, no QSS has the cleanse. As the bot lane inhibitor tower, Rogue's target with this Baron buff. Bullet time coming out. Noguri forced back to base. Hook lands onto Trimby. Only Hansama heals up from the minion wave. Larssen and Odoamne chunk to half. However, with the Baroned up minions pushing in, Rogue will look to take their first inhibitor of the game. Tian is going to step forward and Rogue will take it and back away. Wave's not in the best of spots in mid and top for them to go and get another one. Instead, it looks like they're going to reset.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that Dragon spawns in minutes time. And we are approaching, well, late game. And if they die, those death times are quite long, and there's a real chance that they could lose out on the Baron and give FPX another way back into the game. So they just said, you know what, with only a minute left on this Baron, let's just create a little bit of pressure. We've taken down the bot inhib. We've created a source that FPX have to deal with, and now we can attempt another push towards the second inhibitor.
Also place some wards in that red side jungle in case a dragon fight starts. Odoamne, no TP on him, but Larssen could look for a flank play if FPX decides to push out that way.
Look at this as well. Rogue trying to steal absolutely everything away from FPX in their half of the jungle as well. Continuing to deny these smaller neutral objectives in the blue and the red. Baron now. Baron. Dragon, 15 seconds. And this area of the map does not belong to FPX.
You see, walking into darkness, placing the ward over the wall there. Crisp just trying to get some vision, uses the oracles as well to sweep out as they step forward. Larssen is not with the team right here. Destiny coming out to keep Rogue eyes on. The FPX know that they have a man advantage for a moment until this TP comes in. Larssen's going to join the fray. Odoamne has Flash, has Slicing Maelstrom, has the stopwatch. Doinby has the gold card locked in Mountain.
That's a lot of wards in the pit. Rogue going to look to pull this one out. Bot wave is continuing to push in. Destiny is on cooldown.
Spire tries to get into this push without being seen, but he is spotted. Tian only level 14 here, but of course smites equalize at 900 damage. Curtains open. Hansama takes one, takes two. There's the quickness onto the backline. He's looking for the charm. And then look just to burst down Doinby. And the bullet time means die, Phoenix, die. Doinby will fall. Larson dives onto the backline as well. And there is the damage onto LWX. Odo with the shutdown. Chris trying to get into the middle of Rogue, but he just can't do enough. It's a clean ace for Rogue as they make their way to the tiebreakers.
5 still alive for Rogue, 5 dead on the former world champions of FPX. Their world championship run will end right now as Rogue continue to advance in the tiebreakers to face Cloud9 for a spot in the quarterfinals.
Once more into the breach, my friends. Once more, Rogue have one more opportunity, one shot to make it to quarters. FPX are knocked out of Worlds 2021.
And such a massive comeback win for Rogue. They have looked shaky throughout the entire group stage, but Hansama was unleashed in this game. Larson was able to match any of the early pressure that Doinby was trying to throw out, and in the team fights, it was Rogue that came out on top. Huge win for EU, as they will now get one last shot at making it out of Group A, as Rogue and Cloud9 will fight for the final spot.
And of course, Cloud9 have had a little bit of extra time to set up, a little bit of extra time to watch Rogue play against FPX, and will be looking hungrily at that quarterfinal spot. Have had an incredible day today, 2-1, only losing to Damwon. Cloud9 should be favorites coming into this final game on current form.
Certainly should be, but also once again, commiserations to